The message was never meant for her. It was supposed to go to his mechanic, a short request for help, a simple question about whether the car would last another week. But when Ethan Parker, a tired single dad juggling 2 jobs and an 8-year-old daughter who still had nightmares, accidentally sent that message to the CEO of one of the most powerful companies in the city, he had no idea that the mistake would set off a chain of events that would rewrite the entire course of his life. He hit send, tossed the phone aside, and didn't think about it again. Not until he opened the door the next morning and found her standing on his porch. But before that moment, before the disbelief, before the shock, Ethan had spent the night pacing in a dimly lit apartment that smelled faintly of worn textbooks and laundry detergent, listening to the rain tap insistently against the window. Money was tight, rent was overdue, his daughter Lily had a fever, and the only thought running through his mind was how much longer he could keep going without falling apart. Ethan had always been the quiet one, the dependable one, the guy who stayed after hours to help coworkers and never complained even when life pressed him into corners too small for breathing. He had grown used to being invisible. It was easier that way. People couldn't abandon you if they never noticed you in the first place. But life has a strange way of pushing unseen souls into the spotlight at the moments they expect it least. That night, after tucking Lily into bed and whispering stories about brave forests and gentle dragons until her eyelids fluttered shut, he finally sank into the old couch that sagged in the middle like it was tired of holding the weight of his world. He rubbed his eyes, scrolled through his phone, and typed a message asking when his car, his last reliable lifeline to work, would be fixed. Without checking the contact name, he pressed send, set the phone down, and drifted into an exhausted sleep. He didn't see the reply until morning. And even when he saw the name, the CEO, Veronica Hale, one of the most influential women in the country, he assumed it was an automated bounce-back message. Some corporate assistant brushing him off. He didn't even open it. He just shoved the phone into his pocket and carried on with the morning routine he had perfected out of necessity, getting Lily ready for school, microwaving oatmeal, and whispering encouragements even as worry clung to his bones like frost. It wasn't until the knock came, a firm, unfamiliar rhythm echoing through the small apartment, that he finally realized something was different. Lily looked up from her crayons, blinking. "Daddy, someone's here," he told her to stay inside. He wiped his hands on his jeans. And he opened the door. She was standing there in the hallway, tall, elegant, dressed in a crisp navy coat that looked like it belonged in a world far away from peeling paint and flickering lights. Her eyes were alert but kind, and the way she studied him made his breath catch. "I believe you sent me a message," she said softly. For a moment, Ethan couldn't move. He couldn't think. He could barely breathe. He stepped aside, stammering apologies, but she raised a hand gently. "No need to apologize," she said. "I came because something in your message didn't feel like a mistake. Or rather, it felt like one, but the kind that happens for a reason." His heart thudded painfully. He didn't know what to say. Inside, Lily peeked from behind the couch, a blanket over her shoulders and her cheeks still flushed from the fever. Veronica noticed instantly. "Is your daughter unwell?" she asked quietly. Ethan nodded, embarrassed. He didn't want pity. He had spent years avoiding it. But Veronica didn't give him pity. She gave him attention, genuine and undivided. And somehow, that was far more overwhelming. She asked if she could step inside. Ethan hesitated, then nodded, because something about her presence felt grounding, unexpected but not unwelcomed. The apartment was small and humble, the kind of place you lived when your dreams were bigger than your income. Veronica took it all in with a calm, respectful gaze. She didn't judge. She didn't make him feel lesser. She simply observed, and listened, and existed in the room as if she belonged there. Ethan explained the mistake, the car, the late-night exhaustion that had blurred everything. But Veronica wasn't listening to the explanation. She was listening to something deeper, the quiet strain in his voice, the hope he tried to smother, the way he kept glancing at Lily as if she might vanish if he didn't check steadily. "You work for my company, don't you?" she asked suddenly. He nodded, sheepish. "Just part-time, night shifts, warehouse." Her brows knit slightly, not in annoyance but in thought, as if she was solving a puzzle no one else knew existed. "You're working 2 jobs, she said quietly. "And raising your daughter alone." Ethan nodded again, this time slower. He wasn't sure how she knew, but she was right. He had been alone since Lily was 2. Her mother had left without a goodbye. Life had turned into a tightrope walk, one misstep away from losing everything. Veronica walked closer to Lily, who was shy but curious, peering up with wide eyes. Veronica crouched down, meeting her at eye level, her voice lowering into something warm and gentle. "Hello, sweetheart, I'm Veronica, you must be very brave." Lily nodded timidly, then with more confidence when Veronica offered a small encouraging smile. Ethan felt something tighten in his chest, an emotion he hadn't felt in years. Relief. The rare kind. The kind that comes when someone sees your struggle without you having to explain it. Veronica stayed longer than she originally intended. She sat with them. She asked about Lily's school, her interests, her favorite stories. She listened to Ethan talk about his jobs, the car trouble, and the quiet exhaustion that never fully left his voice. She didn't offer solutions at first. She simply allowed him to speak, something he hadn't done freely in so long that he almost forgot how. When she finally did speak, her voice was calm, steady, and deeply sincere. "You're doing everything you can," she said. "But no one should have to do it alone." The apartment was silent. Even the rain outside seemed to hold its breath. Ethan didn't know how to respond. He didn't know how to handle kindness, real kindness, especially from someone who had every reason to walk away and never think of him again. Then Veronica stood and walked toward the window. Her eyes drifted across the rainy city skyline, the endless stretch of gray buildings, the tired streets, the unseen people hustling below. "There are thousands of employees in my company," she murmured. "I see their names on reports, their positions listed on screens, but I don't know their stories. Not really, not like this." She turned back to him with a soft, almost vulnerable exhale. "I should," she said. "And I want to." She left soon after, but not before giving Lily a small, comforting smile and telling Ethan she would check in again soon. He thanked her, though the words felt too small for what he meant. He thought the visit would end there, that it was an unusual moment in an otherwise ordinary life. He didn't expect her to return the next day, or the next, or the one after that, but she did, and each time she came, something in the apartment shifted, something subtle but transformative, like fresh air slipping through a window that had been shut for too many years. Sometimes she brought soup for Lily. Sometimes she brought books. And sometimes she brought nothing at all, just her presence, her time, and her willingness to listen. Word spread around the company. People whispered, confused and curious. Why was the CEO visiting a part-time warehouse worker? No one knew, but Veronica didn't care about the rumors. She cared about the truth she found in that small apartment, a truth that grounded her more than any boardroom or stock report ever had. Over time, Ethan changed too. He started standing straighter, smiling more, believing, slowly, cautiously, that life didn't have to be a constant battle. Veronica encouraged him to apply for a better position, one that matched his intelligence rather than his exhaustion. She coached him through the interview. She cheered quietly when he passed the assessments with scores higher than many applicants. But she wasn't saving him, she was reminding him that he had been capable all along. And Ethan, for the first time in years, let himself hope. Their bond grew without force or intention. It evolved naturally, the way sunlight stretches across a room without being asked. It was friendship at first, a deep, steady trust built on small moments, quiet conversations, and shared vulnerabilities. But somewhere along the way, something else bloomed. The warmth in her eyes when she watched Ethan laugh. The softness in his voice when he said her name. The way Lily began to draw pictures with the three of them, always close, always smiling. But Veronica was cautious, and Ethan was scared. Life had taught him that good things didn't last, that people left when the burden grew too heavy. He didn't want to hope for something he might lose. Yet hope came anyway. The turning point happened one evening as the sun dipped behind the buildings, painting the apartment in shades of gold and amber. Lily had fallen asleep early on the couch, her small hand still clutching the corner of her favorite drawing. Veronica helped tuck a blanket around her, smoothing her hair with mother-like tenderness. When she stood, her eyes lingered on Ethan. "You know," she whispered, "I came here because I thought your message was a mistake. But now I think it was the universe tapping me on the shoulder." Ethan swallowed, his voice shaking when he finally spoke. "I'm afraid," he admitted, "of messing this up, of failing, of losing the one good thing that's happened to us in a long time." Veronica stepped closer, her voice barely above a breath. "You won't lose me by trying." And for the first time, Ethan believed her. Their connection deepened in the weeks that followed. They didn't rush, they didn't force, they simply let the bond unfold, gentle, real, and healing in ways neither